Good morning. Thank you, Liz. Welcome to the final plenary session of the 2024 NCWIT Summit. This morning, we again begin with a celebration. Today, we recognize two outstanding NCWIT higher education professionals for their significant contributions to the recruitment and retention of diverse graduate and undergraduate women in computing. Here to introduce one of this year's accomplished winners is Gary Fosco from Merck. Merck has been a long-standing generous funder of NCWIT, specifically the anchor sponsor and a key ongoing sponsor of our Counselors for Computing program. This program would not exist without their visionary generosity. As Merck's Executive Director of IT Talent Enablement, Gary designs, executes, and sustains multiple new talent programs aligned to long-term digital strategies. He implements innovative career growth capabilities to attract and engage technical talent. Gary leads and drives progress towards diversity and inclusion action plans, also representing Merck IT on the Skills First program. He defines and leads the next generation of Merck's IT emerging talent programs, scaling up the recruitment and development of those with the future skills needed to drive business outcomes. Welcome, Gary. Thank you so much for being here, Gary. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. Very happy to be here. It's been a great conference so far. Made some new friends, which is always a good thing. So I'm here to present the Harold Notkin Research and Graduate Mentoring Award, and it's given in memory of Mary Jean Harold and David Notkin to honor their outstanding research, graduate mentoring, and diversity contributions. The award recognizes faculty members from nonprofit U.S. institutions, including U.S. territories, who combine outstanding research accomplishments with excellence in graduate mentoring, as well as those who advocate for recruiting, encouraging, and promoting gender diversity in computing fields at the local and national level. This year's winner is Dr. Clara Narstedt. So we're going to try a little experiment here. I had a script that was very good, but we decided to do a little experiment and run it through a generative AI tool, and we created a prompt to turn it into an emotive poem. So I'm going to read you that poem for the next 3 minutes. I think it's a great example of how we can use AI, but still do something very human. You ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
Awesome. Dr. Clara Narstedt, a name renowned, a pioneer in research profound. Granger Distinguished Chair with wisdom vast, in the Department of Computer Science she's cast. A powerhouse at the university, Illinois' Urbana-Champaign with certainty. As director of the Coordinated Science Lab, her impact stretches far, a luminous fab. Mentoring and guiding, she's touched countless lives, 36 PhD students she inspires to strive. Many have soared as faculty, bright and grand. Leaders in research, a prestigious band. In multimedia systems, her expertise thrives, networking, cloud computing, wherever she dives. Her research directions, pioneering and bright, bringing innovation, pushing boundaries and height. ACM Fellow, AAAS Fellow, IEEE Fellow too, a member of the National Academy. It's true. Dozens of research awards she proudly bears, recognition for brilliance garnered through the years. Her mentorship a beacon, a guiding light, supporting students, making their futures bright. Undergraduates, graduates, postdocs she aids, helping them find their path where passion pervades. Inclusive advising, a core principle she holds, creating community where diversity unfolds. A sense of belonging she fosters with care, nurturing minds, ensuring each student is aware. This award, well-deserved, a testament true to Dr. Norstedt for all that she'll do. An elite researcher with excellence displayed, a legacy of impact, her many student accolades. Her work in multimedia systems revered, cloud computing, wireless networking endeared. Best Paper Awards, 35,000, citations aplenty. Her contributions admired and acclaimed widely. As students flourish under her watchful gaze, they find their own paths in her thoughtful maze, blooming into researchers, strong and bright, thanks to Dr. Norstedt's guiding light. In admiration, we honor her name, a champion of knowledge, a beacon of fame. Dr. Clara Norstedt, an inspiration true, working tirelessly, making dreams come into view.
So, dear participants of the NCWIT, I am truly honored to receive this Harold Notkins Research and Graduate Mentoring Award in memory of Mary Jane Harold and David Notkin. They have been outstanding researchers, mentors to graduate students, contributed greatly to diversity, and were great role models to many students. In my own journey as an educator, I have been raised in the spirit of the Central European educator, John Amos Comenius, Moravian philosopher and pedagogue of the 17th century, who had major influence on forming the educational system in Czechoslovakia, where I grew up, and across the Europe. He is considered the father of modern education, champion of universal and practical education, proponent of lifelong learning, proponent of equal opportunity for impoverished and disadvantaged children, and particularly proponent of education for women. Some of his quotes actually really accompanied me as I moved through my own career. And he said, quoting, "Three things give students the possibility to surpassing her teacher. Ask a lot of questions, remember the answers, and teach." I have also been highly influenced by my parents, both university professors, Ruzena and Julius Bajci, and my mentors, Professor Jonathan Smith, my advisor, PhD advisor, Professor Joan Liu, and Professor Marianne Winslet, who were my faculty mentors at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Watching them working with their graduate students and influence them in their professional and personal growth, I am thankful to have had such great role models in my life. I have educated and graduated a large number of international and US graduate students. I enjoyed every moment working with each of them on the many research problems like the quality of service routing, resource management of network systems, teleimmersive systems, multimedia systems, smart grid, Internet of Things, and seeing them develop to full-fledged researchers and going out to the workforce in academia and industry. I'm very proud of each one of them. When asked what I am most proud of in my almost 30 years of my professional career, my response always is my students. I enjoy how they grow even when they leave after University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. In conclusion, I would like to finish with the quote from Maya Angelou. She gave a fabulous 2002 commencement speech at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and that particular speech very much motivated and influenced me as an educator and researcher. She said, I quote, "I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Again, thank you so much for this award.
Thank you, Dr. Narstead, and congratulations. To introduce the next award is a longtime NCWIT supporter and board member, Avis Yates Rivers. Avis is the president and CEO of Technology Concepts Group International, an information technology solutions provider and full-service equipment leasing firm. Avis was recently named a 2024 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year finalist in New Jersey. Additionally, TCGI is again among the top 50 fastest growing women-owned firms in the country. A strong believer in the late Shirley Chisholm's ideal that service is the rent you pay for the privilege of living on this earth, Avis subscribes to both the principles and the practice of being in service. She is a longtime advocate for the increased utilization of minority and women-owned businesses, and a change agent for increasing the meaningful participation of women and people of color in technology. Please come to the stage, Avis.
Thank you, Terry. I would like for us to give Terry a huge round of applause. I have to tell you, as one of the inaugural board members, that means I've been around for 20 years, I have seen the growth, the development, the sustainability of NCWIT increase and become enhanced year over year over year. And to Terry, who has been in the support role for many of those years, now is at the helm, and I couldn't be more proud of her. So congratulations, Terry. You know, she can't do it by herself, and I also want to congratulate and ask you, as you see them in these final hours, to congratulate the rest of the NCWIT team. They are amazing. We have researchers here, we have C-suite members here, we have folks who make it run and go in a very seamless way every single day. So congratulations, NCWIT staff. Okay, I guess I have to put these on now. It is my pleasure to stand here in front of you today to present this award, because I too knew Dr. Joanne Cahoon and miss her very, very much. But let me tell you a little bit about this award. The NCWIT Joanne McCrath Cahoon Service Award honors distinguished educators and staff who have effectively challenged and changed the systems that shape the experiences of women undergraduates in post-secondary computing programs. Winning nominees demonstrate exceptional commitment to and success in creating long-lasting systemic change that improves the environment for all students who identify as women, with attention to practices or interventions that advance the diversity, equity, and inclusion, these days bad words, of women from historically excluded groups. The award is given in memory of Dr. Cahoon's outstanding research and advocacy work to broaden and enrich women's participation in computing. And this year's award winner is Dr. Nikki Washington. Come on up, Nikki. Now, I have to say this, Gary. I did not let ChatGPT write a poem about Dr. Nikki Washington, so thank you for showing me up. You could have sent me a memo to tell me what we're doing up here today, but no. I will be calling my board buddy, Dave Williams, after this and let him know exactly how you made me feel. So, Dr. Nikki Washington is the Q Family Professor of the Practice of Computer Science and Gender, Sexuality, and Feminist Studies at Duke University, and the author of Unapologetically Dope. I love that. Lessons for Black Women and Girls on Surviving and Thriving in the Tech Field. She is currently the director of the Cultural Competence in Computing, 3Cs Fellows Program, and the NSF-funded Alliance for Identity Inclusive Computing Education, which is AICE, A-I-I-C-E. She also serves as senior personnel for the NSF-funded Athena Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Her career in higher education began at HU as the first Black female faculty member in the Department of Computer Science. That's Howard University, if you didn't get that. Her professional experience also includes Winthrop University, the Aerospace Corporation, and IBM. She is a graduate of Johnson C. Smith University. I know it well. Several of my cousins went there and graduated from there. And North Carolina State University, becoming the first Black woman to earn a PhD in computer science at the university. She is also a 2019 Computer Science Hall of Fame inductee. She was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. Yeah. Dr. Washington won this award because she has had so many accolades. Okay. All right. So many accolades. And I want to say thank you, Nikki, and congratulations again on this prestigious honor.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Avis. Thank you, NC WIP, for this. I appreciate it sincerely. As a disclaimer, I was told I had 3 to 4 minutes, and I'm going to tell you now I'm going to take 5 to 6. Primarily because what I have to say matters, and I truly don't know when another Black woman will be recognized for the exhausting work that we do. The last time I attended an NCWIT summit was almost 20 years ago, when I was invited to give opening remarks at the keynote. It was 2 days after Senator Barack Obama was elected president. And I remember that day specifically because not only was I exhausted from Election Day celebrations in DC, but also because I discussed the significance of that night, especially as a Black woman, in my talk. So I want to contrast that day with today, where I was informed multiple times that my remarks needed to remain non-political. And I want you to think about what it means to tell a Black woman to be non-political, especially right now. A Black woman whose very birth and existence is an act of resistance by ancestors who were stolen from their homeland and survived the Middle Passage, enslavement, loss of family lineage, and the Jim Crow South, for whom learning to read was illegal, yet still risked their lives because they knew some of them needed to help all of them. A Black woman whose history is currently banned from being taught in many states, and at one point parts of this very state we're standing in, whose work today, recognized by this award, is itself an act of resistance, who just 60 years ago would not have been able to teach at her current institution because the first Black students did not enroll until 1963, and who 70 years ago, almost to the day, would not have been able to attend K-12 school with most of you in here. That's who was asked to remain apolitical today, and for that I ask how? What would you have me say other than thank you? And since that's not gonna happen, anybody who knows me knows that, let me be clear. My work was not designed to be in service to the greater CS community. I wanna start with that. My course, as well as the 3C Fellows program, were created to save myself from 2 things. 1, the harms I experienced from students via biased course evaluations. And 2, the subsequent harms from colleagues who refused to acknowledge the very different and violent experiences I often had as a Black woman navigating historically white campuses. The 3C Fellows was also designed to combat what would likely be extraction by colleagues in the community who expressed interest in my course material or picking my brain, usually for free. But that's the story of Black women in America. We've never tried to save this country. We have always been trying to save ourselves. So today I want to recognize 8 Black women who got me here, and I promise I'll be quick. First, my maternal grandmother, who never had a formal K-12 education and was a literal outsider within, as defined by Patricia Hill Collins, working as a domestic worker in the homes of white families in Western North Carolina. My mother, the first in her family to attend college, who built a successful career as a computer programmer turned manager at IBM, and who, along with my late father, put a computer in my hands and the belief in my mind that my only limit was myself. Dr. Dorothy Kauser Yancey, President Emerita of Johnson C. Smith University, who saw in me what I couldn't see in myself and pushed me to pursue a PhD. Cicely Sadler, who was then a grad student at Duke, now a PhD student at MIT Media Lab, who was interested in an independent study project and jumped at the opportunity to help bring to life my wild idea of a faculty professional development program that mirrored my course. Dr. Shawnee Daly, who has been a co-pilot and a co-conspirator for the last 4 years. Minerva Matos Garner and Monica Allen, who hold me down in every way possible as part of our ACE team. And last but not least, I want to thank me. Because as Niecy Nash recently said, only I know what it cost me to get here. The colleagues, past and present, who called me angry for calling out the harms they caused, intimidating because they are intimidated, arrogant for having the audacity to believe I belong here more than they do, or who simply don't acknowledge me at all because they can't remember who I am, what I look like, or they just don't care to. Only I know the epistemic exclusion I experienced because my research doesn't count, while simultaneously being told, "You're doing an amazing job, Nikki." Everyone says listen to and believe Black women until it's time to actually listen to and believe Black women. It's exhausting, lonely, and costly in terms of physical and mental health to continuously fight to be seen, heard, and respected. But if I don't fight for myself, who will? So I'm grateful to those and the many other Black women in my life who forced me to remember who and whose I am. They also remind me that being apolitical is never an option. Our very lives depend on us, and more importantly, all of you who don't look like us, resisting neutrality. And let me be clear, we don't need allies. We need co-conspirators. People who stop relying on us to do the heavy lifting while saying, "I'm committed, I'm still learning, I'm trying," and instead consistently demonstrate by actions, unsolicited, that they are more walk and less talk. So I close with the words of the great Lucille Clifton: "Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed." Thank you.
Perhaps on Monday I could have been able to wing it, but not today. All right, thank you, Nikki. Next up is our inspirational closing speaker. This is our final nod to technology's expanding impact on our lives. Technology is changing the way athletes and amateurs alike train, recover, or simply stay healthy. From high-tech trackers and sensing systems to predictive AI analytics, sports and health tech have permeated this industry. I'd like to welcome Jeff Forbes to the stage to introduce Billy Mills. Jeff Forbes is the lead program director for the Education and Workforce Program in the National Science Foundation's Directorate for Computer and Information Science and Engineering, managing programs that address the critical and complex issues of education and broadening participation in computing. From 2001 to 2019, Jeff was on the faculty of Duke University, where he was an associate professor of the practice of computer science. He received his BS and PhD in computer science from Stanford University and the University of California, Berkeley, respectively. His interests include computer science and artificial intelligence and learning analytics. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Terry. It is great to be here. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come here and see you all in person. It's great to see all of the work that all of you collectively are doing, and also to recognize the impact that NC WIT has had on the community over the past couple decades. So thanks to all of you all. A little round of applause. So it is my honor to introduce Billy Mills. One thing Terry did not mention in my bio, which I did not put in there, was that I used to run track in high school, and I had a short-lived and mediocre running career in college as well. But we were all at that time particularly inspired about, what can you do? Can you really achieve on the biggest stage? And can you make a big comeback? And that's where our speaker today, Billy Mills, is particularly famous for. So Billy Mills, or his birth name, Tecoche Tequila, was born and raised on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. He was orphaned by the age of 12, but he still was able to graduate from the Haskell Indian School in 1957 and the University of Kansas in 1961. He was commissioned an officer in the United States Marine Corps, but he had incredible feats and major sports highlights. So in particular, there was the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, where he won the Olympic gold medal in the 10,000 meter run and set a new Olympic record. He was ranked #1 in the world. I also have to mention, he then did the marathon immediately afterwards and did well there as well. In 1965, Billy set 7 American records and 1 world record. He was ranked #3 in the world in the 10,000 meter run. Most recently, Billy co-authored a biographical story of his awe-inspiring journey to a record-breaking Olympic gold medal. The book is entitled Wings of an Eagle. The book is illustrated by award-winning Lakota artist S.D. Nelson. The book was recently selected by the Library of Congress, South Dakota, to be highlighted at the Library of Congress Book Festival in Washington, D.C. This summer, the publishing date is July 2nd, 2024. So before we hear from Billy, we will play a video of the last lap of the 10,000 meter run at Tokyo. Billy's number is 7:22, so you can check that out.
Tokyo, 1964.
Some of the athletes from various teams have broken ranks to get a closer look. U.S. girls. Yoshinori Sakai is now passing by the bands and through those traditional Japanese drums. Flags of all the nations. Now we're coming to one of the most impressive moments of the Olympics, as Sakai will turn and salute the crowd before igniting the cauldron, which will burn throughout the Olympic Games until the closing ceremonies, and it will be extinguished. There it goes.
The stretch produced an amazing finish by Billy Mills.
And here we go in the final lap for the gold medal in the 10,000 meter. And up front is Bill Mills. He's pressing Ron Clark, the world champion. Bill Mills of the United States, number 722, is leading Ron Clark. And in third place right now is Mahout Bakamudi of Tunis. A tremendous upset if Bill Mills can hang on. Bakamudi goes out ahead as Bakamudi right now leading in the 10,000 meter. Ron Clark is third. Rather, Bill Mills is in third. Ron Clark is in second right now. This is the final lap for the 10,000 meter. The unheralded Mahout Bakamudi of Tunis is putting on a tremendous sprint. He's out ahead of Ron Clark. Bill Mills, the United States, is in third place. This will certainly be the fastest 10,000 meter ever run by an American.
Here's Mills, who seems to be boxed in. Suddenly there's an opening, and here he comes.
Here they come down the final lap. Can Ron Clark catch Bakamudi? They're going through the field. He's coming up. He's passing Bakamudi. Look at Mills! Look at Mills! Look at Mills! Coming on! Mills is coming on! It might be Bill Mills. What a tremendous surprise here! Bill Mills of the United States wins the 10,000 meters. Bill Mills of the United States, a tremendous upset, wins the 10,000 meter here. His unheralded winner from Kansas.
Let's go back and look with our other camera to see exactly how he broke through the pack.
Here they come down the final lap. Can Ron Clark catch Bakamudi? They're going through the field. He's coming up. He's passing Bakamudi. Look at Mills! Look at Mills! Look at Mills! Coming on! Mills is coming on! It might be Bill Mills. What a tremendous surprise here! Bill Mills of the United States wins the 10,000 meters.
Billy Mills, the only American ever to win a gold medal in the Olympic 10,000 meter run.
All right. So you can see why we're inspired. So let's welcome Billy Mills.
To me, I felt as if I had wings on my feet. I might need some help turning it on. Is it on?
You're on two.
There we go.
We got it there. Thank you very, very much. That moment was very, very magical to me. I felt as if I had wings on my feet. I was told the moment was electrifying, and the world had just witnessed the greatest upset in Olympic history unfold. However, that's not what I took from sport. What I took from sport can be considered today, in our rapidly changing world, three of the greatest challenges are lessons we face today, globally, nationally, individually. I took, for example, it's the journey, not the destination, that empowers us. It's the daily decisions we make in life, not just the talent we possess, that choreographs our destiny. Now, my wife and I, being able to travel throughout the world to over 100 countries, I've taken a true sense of global unity through the dignity, the character, the beauty of global diversity. Unity through diversity. Not only the theme of the Olympic Games, far more important, the future of humankind if we choose. It's also an underlying theme of this incredible democratic experiment that we're on. Just to quote part of the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. But roads have become misleading. It's easy to lose sight, to lose direction. I'm going to talk about footprints that created a cause. And I'm going to talk about my footprints as a young boy, then footprints of my ancestors from 1493 on. I'm half Lakota. I'm half white. I've never met a white relative. I would love to feel complete. I was 9 years old. My mother died. And as I mourned the loss of my mother, my father simply said, "Son, you have broken wings. You cannot fly. It takes a dream to heal broken wings. Find your dream, son." He shared with me over time how the dream would take me down a path to where I found a passion in life, a positive, constructive passion. He would say, "Develop the skills, son, to equal the passion. Bring them together, and magic can happen." And over your lifetime, one or two of the magical things you do just may be looked upon as a miracle. My father had me believing in magic. He had me believing in miracles. He was not a healthy man. I remember on 3 occasions, in the middle of the night, we did not have a car. He woke me and said, "Son, you have to walk with me to the hospital." He was having a stroke, a blizzard. We walked to the hospital. Another night, a year or so later, a lightning storm. And I remember the night you could see the stars. I believed in the hospital. I always got my daddy there. And he got well. This late afternoon was different. He said, "Son, we've got to go to the hospital again. But I can't walk. You have to find me a ride." I remember begging people to take my dad to the hospital. No one volunteered. I'd run back home saying, "Daddy, I can't find a ride." The last time I ran home crying, saying, "Daddy, I'm failing you." He simply said, "You're not failing me, son. We made it walk and we will make it again." As we start to walk, a car drove up and stopped. The window went down. "Put your dad in the back seat." I got my dad in the back seat. I started to get in. He stopped me. He said, "Son, this time I go alone." And he simply said, "Follow your dream. Create the magic." The last words I heard my father speak. 12 years of age. I was raised from then on by 2 women. My 16-year-old sister, my 18-year-old sister, both seeking their own rites of passage into womanhood. But they taught me love. They taught me to respect people. They taught me to believe in myself. And yes, they taught me to follow my dream, to find a gift within me, to develop the skills and create the magic. But when my dad died, I was not prepared for the racism I would face right off the reservation, alone. I felt safe with him when we'd go into a restaurant. We're almost the only ones there, but we would wait 45 minutes to be served. He would say, "They're not all that way, son. Look at people. Look at their eyes and look at their smile. If they're good people, the eyes or the smile or both will take you to their soul, and there you'll find sacredness." The people I've met since I've been here, they don't know that I looked at their eyes. They don't know that I looked at their smile. But I want to tell them, you took me to the center of your soul. I found comfort. I found a sacredness. But my world became misleading. I would try to draw strength from my past. My great-grandfather, B.B. Mills, English, Scottish, found his way to America, was in Wyoming, Montana. He met a Lakota woman, full-blooded Lakota. They married. They had 5 children. 1868 treaty, when the tribes were surrendering. And Red Cloud surrendered, asked the U.S. government if B.B. Mills could become the first Indian agent on what is the Pine Ridge Reservation, the Red Cloud Agency, where I was born. They declined. They said he speaks fluent Lakota, married to a Lakota woman, has 5 Lakota children. It would be too hard to take the culture outside of them, to save the child, to save the person. That's when I started learning people, culture, governments, laws, then hope. He mysteriously died. My grandfather was forced to leave with her 5 children, one, an infant. She found her way to Crazy Horse's band. There were 3 bands still free, living their traditional way. Crazy Horse was one of them. When Crazy Horse surrendered, riding into Fort Laramie, full regalia with his sub-chiefs, the U.S. military escorting them, 300 warriors, then 500-600 men, women, and children, then the supply train, walking in with Crazy Horse's band to surrender was my grandmother, my great-grandmother, with her eldest son, who lived as a hunter and gatherer for the first 4.5 years of his life. My grandfather, Ben Mills. I would try to study the past to understand the future. I began to understand a cause and effect that I'm going to come back to later. I ran for loneliness to feel that maybe my dad's spirit was with me. Got a scholarship to the University of Kansas. Had no idea the significance. Had full 18 athletic scholarships because I was also a good student. I loved to read. I was not ready again at the University of Kansas, where we voted. The track team voted whether I would join the black athletes and stay in the military barracks when we'd go to some of the meets, so the white athletes could use the motel swimming pool. Not surprisingly, we always voted unanimously to stay together as a team. My first experience of unity through diversity. First 3 times I made All-American. I'll never forget the words, but I've overcome the feelings. You, yeah, you, the darker skinned one, we want you out of the photo. The third time, yeah, you're the darker skinned one. I'd like you out of the photo. I'm going to take 2 photos. I'll include you in the second one. I broke. I know what it is to be broken. I went back to my hotel room, got a chair, opened the window, and I remember leaning out on the chair, and I'm leaning out. Just let go. It'll all be over. I didn't want to kill myself. I just wanted to be able to belong or go where it was quiet and be alone. I was so close. And I heard, not through my ears, but underneath my skin, energy, movement that felt like an unspoken word. Don't. Don't. Then a quiet sacredness, like an echo. Don't. Sounded like my dad's voice. I remember crying, getting off the chair. I wrote down a dream to heal a broken soul. And I remember washing the tears away as I wrote it. Olympic gold medal, 10,000-meter run. Where in the world did that come from? Olympic gold medal, 10,000-meter run. The Creator has given me the ability. The rest is up to me. Believe, 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 believe. Go back to the University of Kansas. Cross-country season's over. And eventually met this beautiful co-ed. I followed her wherever she would go. If she ever looked back, she probably thought I was stalking her. We met. A year later, Patricia and I were married. This coming January, we celebrate our 63rd wedding anniversary. I graduated from college. The first person I opened up to, I had told her a dream to heal a broken soul. And in the dream, I also felt I won a gold medal. I just didn't heal a broken soul. We're married, make the Olympic team. We're in Tokyo, Japan. It's time for the 10,000-meter run. I get her on the bus to go to the stadium. Pat's in her seat at the stadium, 90 meters from the finish. 14 rows up, 3 seats in the direction of the finish line. I get on the bus and my teammate came running, another lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and he simply said, Billy, I had this weird dream last night. I dreamt you won the 10,000-meter run. I didn't respond. I just dwelled on, I won the 10,000-meter run. A lady sat down by me. She said, what event are you in? I said, the 10,000-meter run. She said, today's the final, isn't it? I acknowledged today was the final. Then she asked a question. Who do you think is going to win? And I sat there. Whoever I named, I felt would beat me. So I simply said, I'm going to win. She looked at me with this incredible smile and disbelief and said, what's your name? I said, Billy Mills. There was no more conversation. We line up for the race. 72,000 capacity stadium. They said close to 80,000 were jammed in. The gun went off. Lap after lap, runners fall behind. Ron Clark, the world record holder. It had rained all night, the track was muddy. He immediately took the lead and got on world record pace. I joined the lead pack, running faster than I'd ever run before. We crossed the 3-mile, our 5,000 meters on world record pace for the 10,000. I'm losing confidence. I decided to take the lead, go one more lap, then I would quit. I took the lead. Immediately, Ron Clark, the world record holder, shot back in front, and he slowed the pace. A major signal. It's too fast for him also. 2 laps to go. 4 of us left. Wolde, the Ethiopian, started to fall back. There's 3 of us. The pace is too fast. I take the lead to slow it one more time. Immediately, Clark shot past me. Once again, he slowed the pace. I'm in the race to the finish. If any of you that run track, a distance runner, my final workout 4 days before the 10,000-meter run was 200 meters out of the blocks. I wanted to see how fast I could do the 200 meters with. Had a German coach time me. I shouted across the track, "How fast?" He looked at the watch and said, "Oh, not too fast." "What's my time?" He said, 23.3, but poor start. Maybe learn how to start, 23 flat. I go, yes, yes. He said, "What event?" I said, the 10,000-meter run and the marathon. He looked again and said, "Oh, very fast, 200 meters." 1 lap to go. I move on Clark's shoulder. He pushed me into the 3rd lane. I stumbled. Gamudi broke between us. Now I have insulinoma, which women usually get. That's a tumor on your pancreas that spews extra insulin. Rarely does it turn into cancer. Mine has not. I've had it since high school, probably. But the insulin was spewing. The tumor was spewing the insulin. I'm going low blood sugar. You can't respond when you go low blood sugar. I let them get 10 yards ahead of me. I'd make one final try coming off the curve. Boom, I'm there. Lifting my knees, pumping my arms, lengthening my stride. Just one more try. Then I may never be this close again. I've got to do it now. Then I'm going to win. But I may not get to the finish line first. Did I contradict myself? But I'm going to try to get to the finish line first. A runner we lapped, moving into the 5th lane to let me go by. As I go by him, I glance into the center of his jersey. I saw an eagle. My dad, when I was this little boy, would say, "You do these things, son. Someday you could have wings of an eagle." I was a 26-year-old officer in the United States Marine Corps, married with 1 child, but I was the little boy. Wings of an eagle. I can win, I can win, I can win. Closing on them, catching them. Then as the tape broke across my chest, an official came up to me, and I said, "Do I have 1 more lap to go?" He said, "Finished. You're the new Olympic champion." I was stunned. I couldn't think. Then they said, "Is there anything we can do for you?" I've got to tell the runner with the eagle that on his chest that he helped me win. I found him. I looked at him. There was no eagle. It was simply a perception. Perceptions can create us or they can destroy us. The official came back up, "Is there anything else we can do for you?" And I simply said, "I want my wife." Within moments, they're tapping Pat on the shoulder. "Mrs. Mills, the new Olympic champion, requests his wife." They brought her to me. We hugged. I cried. And I said, "I know what it meant. I know what it meant." She said, What meant?" "I'm going to win, but I may not get to the finish line first." Pat, I healed a broken soul. And in the process, I won an Olympic gold medal. And still, this year is the 60th anniversary of me winning the gold medal at the Olympic Games. And I'm still the only person from the Western Hemisphere to win that event, which we truly are appreciative of, but far, far more important, I healed, with my wife's help, a broken soul. I came back from the Olympic Games to a world I didn't know really existed. I'm going back to footprints again. Footprints starting in 1492, when my white ancestry came to America, and ultimately meeting my Lakota ancestry. I would go to different cities. We moved 3 occasions. In those 3 cities, the founding fathers would approach me. Billy, we knew you recently moved here. We would love to offer you a gift. We will make an exception. We will allow you to join our most prestigious business club. You will meet the movers and shakers of the community. It'll enhance your income. Besides, Billy, you already half qualify. You're half white, aren't you? They had no idea the innocence they were sharing, how deep the knife would go. I would decline, and I always offered another person of color, a PhD African American or Native American. But they always declined my offer. Women could not join. I set on a course to find out why, in this incredible democratic experiment that we're on, why there's the exclusion when we're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I wanted to find the cause to understand the effect. And we don't do that as we try to address diversity, inclusion. So I'm going to share the cause with you. When I was a little boy, I heard discussions between our elders. Keep in mind, I was born in 1938, 70 years after my tribe or my grandfather left hunting and gathering. I started studying the Doctrine of Discovery. Has anybody read the Doctrine of Discovery? Other countries are studying it while we let the winds of change and the passage of time wash those footprints away. Other countries are studying what I'm going to share with you now. 1493, courtesy of the Vatican, the Pope wrote the Doctrine of Discovery. Pope Francis, a year ago, called it genocide. When the Europeans first came to the Americas, archaeological digs, 50 to 90 million indigenous people. At the end of the wars, 7 million survived. Estimates of 23 million is what is the United States of America. At the end of the wars, my indigenous ancestry came from the less than 500 supposedly that survived. Just phenomenal figures. And I'm assuming they will still change. So the Doctrine of Discovery created the westward movement. Treaties signed, treaties broken. Now the land had to be developed. Slavery. No words can describe the inhumane treatment of the innocent. When slavery was abolished, leadership from Washington went among the poor white. Maybe some of them were my white relatives, I don't know, and simply said, don't let, quote, them take your jobs. They developed great skills as slaves. Don't let them take your jobs. Jim Crow was born. Some of the tribal nations were enslaved. 1 year before I won my gold medal, the Civil Rights Act was passed, signed into law within a month of me winning the gold medal. I went to Dr. Martin Luther King's church. I wanted to stand where those 4 beautiful young girls stood. My words now, perhaps celebrating their brand new freedom. When boom, the bomb goes off. They're killed. My wife and I went to the Catholic University in Seattle, to the museum where the painting of those 4 young women is. The painting shows no face. In my Lakota culture, the book that is just coming out, Wings of an Eagle, that Pat and I and Donna Bowman put together, shows a partial face, because we create who we are with our mentors, with the footprints that dictate our freedom or lack of freedom. With the doctrine of discovery, slavery, Jim Crow, came the war on drugs. Research I've done, the war on drugs was created by some very high, powerful people in the US government to make young black men felons, to make hippies felons. They soon dropped hippies and included our young indigenous boys finding their own passage into manhood. The war on drugs has been devastating. Many reservations. 40% of the young girls, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, are having to find a different place to sleep every night for fear of being sexually abused by men and women high on meth. We're trying to erase those footprints. The governor of South Dakota just said the war on drugs was created by the tribal nations. Other countries are studying what I just shared. So the doctrine of discovery, genocide, slavery, Jim Crow, the war on drugs, are etched into every fiber of our social way of life, our educational system, our political system, forever influencing or dictating the rule of law. As Pat and I travel throughout the world, we've had many young women from different countries, about 12 different countries, say, Billy, we have read, we've studied your tribal treaty with the United States government. We've studied slavery. We've studied the war on drugs. Why is your incredible democratic experiment and its leaders are letting those footprints be washed away by the passage of time and the winds of change? I've learned to speak in other people's world. Muhammad Gamudi, who I beat in Tokyo, he beat me at the World Military Championships. And he simply said, Billy, all you need is more speed. I practiced speed for a year. When I beat him in Tokyo, he said, Billy, too much speed. 2012 at the Olympic Games, he said, here's what I always wanted to tell you. That moment for you, Billy, I was so happy because I knew as you go by me, You break the tape, and as we touched hands after the race, the electricity. Billy, that moment, and he goes, was a gift to you. And I said, Muhammad, are you telling me that was a gift to me from Allah? He goes, yes, it was a gift to you from Allah. And in your world, Billy, your Native American spirituality, and I know you're a Christian, maybe from your Savior. But Billy, you and I have learned to learn about each other's beliefs. We've learned to share our beliefs. And I nod my head in agreement with you. You nod your head in agreement with me. We don't try to dominate or change. I have had over a dozen of my American U.S. Olympic colleagues tell me because of what I just did, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. Pat was offered in a home in the Maldives to be the first woman to join the men in this family for dinner. In the history of their family line, Patricia was asked to be the first female to join. Then my Olympic colleague's mother joined also. The words were simply, our world is changing too rapidly, too fast for us, but we need to move forward. Never in the history, as I close, never in the history of our country has the need for tribal governments, state governments, federal governments, and the marketplace to come together collectively and hear the voice of the beautiful diversity of America. And from that voice, choreograph the horizon of America's future. So as I close, I'm going to dedicate a 90-second video to you about dreams. Judy Collins sings Amazing Grace. It features 4 Olympians and the challenges they had to overcome to achieve their dream. You read captions on the top and bottom of the screen. When the video is over with, I'll come back and close with a 2-minute story. I dedicate what I call my warrior video to you.
Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but was blind, but now I see.
I had the honor of calling Jesse Owens a friend. Jesse's comment, everybody should have a dream. Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. My father would say, follow your dream. It leads you down the path to where you find a passion in life. Develop the skills to equal the passion. Bring them together and create the magic. And 1 or 2 of the magical things you do just may become a miracle. I want to close by commenting on this last video. Jesse Owens, Lutz Long, the German, to do best in the world. Somebody had moved Jesse's mark. To qualify, Jesse jumped and fouled. Lutz had jumped and set the new Olympic record. Jesse, of course, still had the world record. Jesse jumped again, and he fouled. Lutz Long goes to Jesse. One of the articles I read simply said, Jesse, as he looked toward Hitler's box, "Who has your goat?" Then told Jesse, "Don't let him bother you. You're the best in the world. I want to be the best in the world. Jump behind the board. You'll be the last qualifier, but you'll qualify. Then you can remeasure your steps, and the best between you and I win the gold." Jesse jumped behind the board. He soared, he landed, they measured. He was the last qualifier. He remeasured. In the finals, Lutz Long is still leading. Jesse has one jump left. He runs, he plants, he soars, he lands. There's this strange quietness. They measured by fractions of an inch. Jesse surpasses Lutz Long. He wins the gold. Lutz is the first to congratulate Jesse. Hitler left the box. He'd been congratulating the gold medalists, would not congratulate Jesse. Lutz Long and Jesse, the rest of the Olympic Games, would meet. Jesse would tell Lutz, after Lutz told him what it was like growing up in Nazi Germany. Jesse told him what it was like growing up in the country he loved as a descendant of a slave. They discussed each other's worlds. Lutz Long, rumor has it, was sent to the front lines because he communicated with Jesse. He was killed, rumor also has it, by friendly fire. They both had children. Jesse had a son, I think. When Lutz Long's son was killed, his wife got a hold of Jesse. Lutz Long's son and Jesse became friends until Jesse died. Global unity through the dignity, through the character, through the beauty of global diversity. I believe in this incredible democratic experiment. I believe in the United States of America, and I believe in the beauty of our diversity. America, as I close, needs to hear the voices of the dignity, the character, and the beauty of diversity within corporate America. Your voice will choreograph the horizon of America's future. And I say, mature this incredible democratic experiment through the sacredness it represents. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
If there are any
Question.
questions, Chris or someone will bring you a microphone.
Hi, thank you for your inspiration. I just wondered, are your sisters still alive, and what were their lives like?
She wonders if your sisters are still alive and what their lives were like.
Yeah, both sisters died of cancer, and Marjorie, who was the 18-year-old at the time, she died in her late 60s. Ramona Moni, she died in her late 50s from cancer. I've lost most of my siblings to cancer.
Do you have any words of wisdom for Lakota and other indigenous youth?
She's asking if you have words of wisdom for Lakota and other indigenous youth.
The words of wisdom I would have for the Lakota would be for all young people, the diversity of America. Our ancestors said, when we signed the treaties, it would take 6 generations before a generation begins to heal us. So I'm half white, I'm half Lakota. So I say it'll take 6 generations of American people at the time of the signing of my treaty, their children's children's children. The 6th generation of the diversity of America is the generation that will heal us and get us back on the good road and choreograph the horizon of America's future. You are their mentors. And then I would also say to all young people in America, listen. I learned as a young boy the difference between freedom and honesty. Know the difference. Every night we see various people in America running for the highest office, speaking honestly, their feelings and their emotions through words, even though what they're saying may not be the truth. You find some people speaking honestly, their feelings and their emotions through words, knowing they're not the truth, but they want to deceive you. So I challenge our young people to know truth. Truth is an accurate expression of what you honestly want to share. Share the truth. And that's 6th generation of the diversity of America are the ones we need to teach, to choreograph and help them choreograph the horizon of America's future.
Mr. Mills, hello. Thank you for being here. You got almost every single one of us very emotional. Like your father, my father told me growing up, it's not just a dream. Now, he believes that there are 3 things that motivate people. Her father told her when she was growing up, there are 3 things that motivate people. And nations. And those 3 things are fear, money, and love.
One of the books I read where this incredible brain surgeon died, he could see his colleagues operating on him, and he's sitting up here. He was orphaned. Not orphaned, he was adopted out at birth. He wanted to meet his mother. She refused to meet him. He met his younger sister. She told him about another sister who had died. The mother doesn't want to meet him because she would lose him again. That would be, he dies twice in her heart, and the other sister dies once. And this orb of energy with this angel, and you guys, we all know angels are beautiful women. This angel, this female, on this orbit of energy, took him to God. And he's out in space. He could be here and there, millions of miles apart at the same time. And he saw God, and he said, there's no word to describe, no words in our language to describe this incredible energy except love. So the 3, we dwell on love.
That is exactly what I was dreaming and hoping for. We've gone through. That's exactly what she was dreaming and hoping for. Yeah, our world has seen so much with capitalism and money. Our world has seen so much with capitalism and money. We've also are currently going through fear. We also have a lot of fear. Can I dream, or can all of us have hope that the 3rd phase, which is love, is eventually going to be possible for every one of us, and we know love endures? Thank you.
All I can say is ditto.
Hello. I know, like, when you were speaking, you mentioned how you look at people's eyes and you look at people's smile to connect with them. How do you connect with yourself when you're going through your journey?
She said in your talk, you talked about how you look at people's eyes and smile to connect with them. How do you connect with yourself when you're going through your journey?
Well, I love that, and wow, I struggle with that daily. I try to live daily the Lakota virtues and values, and I've sat down with other people from throughout the world. I've compared my Lakota virtues and values with their virtues and values, with the virtues and values we find in our Constitution, and that gives me hope, and I try to live those daily. I study different things I take from our Constitution, and for example, I remind myself freedom versus liberty, that we have the freedom to do anything we want in the world. In America, we have that freedom. We can commit a crime, but if we're caught, there's a consequence. So it's not freedom that builds this incredible democracy. It's our liberties. Liberties come with morality. Liberties comes with virtues and values. Liberties puts checkpoints on our freedoms. So I have the freedom to do anything I want as long as I don't interfere with your freedom or you interfere with their freedom. So our freedom in America under our democratic experiment calls for the utmost discipline so we can all move to higher ground collectively based on our given talents. So I talk to myself constantly, reminding me that as an Olympic gold medalist here, I'm humbled with the intellect I'm in front of. But I remind myself constantly that I'm here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. And I try to stay on the red road, the sacred road.
I think we have time for one more question.
Thank you so much. This has been an incredibly moving experience. I think I can speak for all of us, but I have tears in my eyes. So because you, go ahead. And because you speak so eloquently and the truth, I know this might be a rhetorical question, but did you ever consider running for political office?
You know, that really is a very good question. In South Dakota, they only have 2 Congress representatives, and one of them was a Native American. So when he was retiring, I was asked to go back, but I'd have one difficulty. The indigenous people with our treaty rights, we have no voice in America. It's a quasi-apartheid. I'd represent the constituency of South Dakota, and that would be like South Dakota's senators representing the constituency of Kansas. So I felt I could not do justice, and I felt I would just go where I feel very comfortable, and traveling to 100 different countries throughout the world, having friends throughout the world. I love the beauty, the diversity of America. And I know there's pain, and now we're broken. I'm going to add on one other thing to my answer. I decided to stay where generational trauma was created. Generational trauma brought economic poverty. Economic poverty brought a poverty of dreams, crime, gangs, etc. But then here's generational privilege. I've been offered both. Both have to heal. Privilege has to heal. Privilege thinks it's a God-given right in our Constitution for them to have that privilege. God's not mentioned in our Constitution. So I just try to work with privilege and trauma to where they understand how both are broken. And I felt I could do more individually. The book we just wrote, Wings of an Eagle, third graders through high school, is setting third graders in a frame of mind to be willing to listen to the beauty of diversity. We choreographed the Horizon of America collectively, and I just felt as a member of Congress I could not do that.
I really have nothing more to say. I'm filled with gratitude for Billy being here, for all of you, for this summit, for being back in person. Everything has been wonderful, so from me to you, thank you. And I hope to see you in the networking brunch afterwards. Please enjoy some more food and time together, and just thank you all.